Put it in the books twice. 2 books. Put it in 2 books. The New York Mets have beaten the Atlanta Braves 2 times today. 2 times. 2 times. And Kyle, it's me and Kyle. We were both at the game. Barstool, the ballpark. Shout out everyone at Barstool Ballpark. It was an absolute blast. We had shoeys. We had baptisms. And we had motherfucking Max Scherzer on the mound, eating souls alive. And then the New York Mets just grinding out runs the way they always do. Great plays in the field. Fundies as far as the eye can see. Kyle's driving home. I'm in some random Astoria street right now in front of a fire hydrant. I hope I don't get a ticket. And, we just had to go live. I was actually not sure if we should even do this because, Kyle, I was told that we shouldn't celebrate. This is our, we won the World Series against the Yankees. We won the Series against the Braves. These people are right, Kyle.
I think we won like 5
we should not be treating these wins as anything special because all we do is kick the shit out of the Braves. There's nothing special about beating the Braves. So Braves fans, I yield. You're right. Just another ass kicking in 2 games with really no doubt. Yohan Lopez is the only person that gave me any fear today.
Yep. No one's trying but Max Fried, who's breaking his fall with his face to try to get an out at the home plate. I mean, every single facet. Tonight was the night where it was like the litmus test of we're better than them in every facet of the game, minus possibly 1 or 2 bullpen arms. Where I feel very comfortable if our starters do what they're supposed to do. Taijuan Walker let up 8 runs yesterday, and we still had a chance in that ballgame. Now we got Max Scherzer, David Peterson, who's not even one of our starters that's slotted, and Jacob deGrom going tomorrow. This team is complete. This team does exactly what they need to do every single time we ask them to, and that's why we're 3 out of 4 so far.
Yep, you could almost lump in. Granted, it was an 8-run deficit, but lump in what Trevor Williams did yesterday with David Peterson today. That's our 7 and 8 starters. If lump in McGill to everything. At this point, KFC's not on the broadcast right now. He was sick today, but that's usually his thing. It's like at this point, if you can't enjoy this team, say this team is different, say this season is different, you're officially just lost. You are gone to the world. And I had Frank in my DMs yelling about Givens. Yes, Givens gave up his runs. There was some shaky parts where I wish we had Andrew Chafin in the game for a big Matt Olson at bat. And James McCann did get an RBI today. To be fair, he did get an RBI. But other than that, this team from top to bottom is so fucking good. And, Mr. Francisco Lindor that everyone hates, getting the big hits early in the game, getting the big hits later in the game. Pete comes in game 2, does Pete things. Aunt Mary is a fucking relic from the gods who called both games to a T. She called Nimmo. She called Pete. She called the pitching. She does it all.
Anyone that doesn't believe in astrology, just take a look at that Twitter account. She is spot on every single time. I think we might actually have to get her to give us like a card reading before the playoffs.
Yes, we need to have Aunt Mary go into the zodiacs, read the constellation, read our signs, read our palms, whatever it may be. And I feel like it's going to be good shit because that's all this team does. Just like we could talk about it. I mean, first of all, we'll start with Max. I mean, this was the first time I saw him in person as a Met. I mean, every penny, every fucking one of Steve Cohen's pennies, egg on our face in our free agency preview. We never even mentioned Matt Scherzer because we were still in Wilpon mode of spending. Uncle Stevie comes out. Granted, hat tip to Steven Matz's agent for making this possible. Hat tip for Noah Syndergaard for deciding to sign with the Angels instead of coming back to the Mets. And I mean, I don't know if Max Scherzer is here if like certain events don't go a certain way. It's like the rat in Endgame doesn't step on the right part of the quantum realm van. You never know what could have happened. Thanos could be still here. That guy is a fucking monster. 110 pitches tonight.
Yep.
11 strikeouts, 7 innings. Exactly what we needed. Shutout ball.
He is the pitcher that begs you to give him his best just so he can humble them. Like, that is the alpha to the ultimate core because, like, if you look at Jacob deGrom, the eye test alone, you go, that guy's different than everybody else. Max Scherzer takes actual pleasure in making you realize that you're worse than him. Like, he's like, oh, thank you. You're having a great series, Acuna. Yeah, here you go. This is what I'm going to do to you. This is what I'm going to do to Olsen. This is what I'm going to do to Albies, whoever else is coming up. Doesn't matter. he's going to take them to the woodshed time in and time out. 38 years old. That man has a 30-year-old soul.
Yeah, and like it's not even like I don't think really hyperbole either, because I mean we see the gift. You're fucking mine, you fucking bitch, motherfucker. Like he's thinking the worst things of doing what he's doing to you in the batter's box. He's a psycho. He's Mad Max. Shout out,
He
Mad
really
Max.
is.
We got the T-shirt on right now. Barstool Sports Store. Another guy who I mean Luis Guillorme. That play home. We were at the game and I was like, what the fuck was that? That wasn't even in the realm of possibilities for me. And Bayer Buck on the way home, they were interviewing and he's like, that's just what that guy does. He goes, that's a baseball player move. That's not something you do you practice down in St. Lucie. That's just something a baseball player does. And I've said it a million times, Guillorme, baseball player. That's what that fucking guy is. He's obsessed with this shit. He's the guy that's out in the pouring rain throwing the ball off the garage to himself because he just loves this shit. He was just born for it.
I mean, he knows Darno's going on first contact, and the second he makes a step, he's like, you moron. You're not fast enough to deal with my arm, and I've been begging you to go this entire time. Like, as far as like knowing where the play is on every single out, that dude is sitting, even if he's not playing, he's sitting in the dugout watching, and he's like, this is where this ball should have went every single time. Like, shout out to Luis Guillorme Sr., who's always tweeting the games. He taught his son how to play baseball the right way.
Yep, and I know Guillorme probably kills Guillorme because he had that one. He got doubled off that one game. I think it was against the Nats where he had that little rally going on Tuesday, and he had a little bit of a running thing today. I forgot which. It might have been game one. That like. I know he's fine with it, but it probably is just going to grind his gears. It's like, dude, it's fine. We lived with Daniel Murphy for like a decade here. We love you no matter what you do, Luis. Couple hiccups on the base path, you're fine. And, you know, another day, another two fucking pitchers that were just, you know, they worked the shit out of them. And they went, Odorizzi, I think, went 4 2/3. Fried went a little longer. I thought Fried died. Did you think he died when you were at the game?
Yes. It was one of those things where it was like, as soon as his face hit the turf, the entire crowd started chanting, and I'm like, all right, this is in bad taste. And then he got up, and I was like, well, if he's not hurt, that was the worst play I've ever seen. Not only did he not pick the made-for-him throw to first base, I understand he's on the run. Like, it's a tough play to begin with, but, like, they gave him a cupcake of a toss. And then he picks it up and still thinks he's got to play at home. I was hoping for the full circus play. I was hoping it went out of bounds and that we got an extra runner advancing, all this thing. Like, that's the one part where it's like, we're not a championship quality, like caliber, whatever. They just won the World Series. All of our players know how to deal with the pressure. And when you see a guy who's young and doesn't like come up to the task, you're like, he's pressing, he's trying to figure out how to get out of this game. I'm like, yeah, continue to throw the ball around, throw it harder, throw it right down the middle. Thank you.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yeah, we just have guys who just fucking they grind it out. Darren Ruff, the platoon boys doing their fucking thing as usual here. And it's coming from all angles. And this is the thing, it's like it's DH baseball, but it still is it's real baseball. It's National League. It's every guy that you're using your bench. This is stuff that you would see with a National League team that I would never think you'd see in an American League style baseball. Maybe teams do it. I know the Yankees used to always do it, and it would drive me fucking crazy rooting against them. And it's just like there's always a fucking Buck always has an answer. He has an answer.
We've talked about it.
He has a righty.
We didn't think that the manager really played that much of a factor into it until we've gotten this manager. And like night in and night out, I'm like, he's pushing every button, and every button he pushes, I'm like, it makes total sense. Occasionally you're going to go to yourself, okay, he's trying to do too much. But more times than not, it comes out on top, and you're like, he really does play out every scenario going into the series. All down to the time of the first pitch. Like tomorrow's first pitch is at 4:00, just because he looked ahead at the schedule a month ago and goes, hey, we're playing a doubleheader on Saturday. I don't want to play a 1:00 game on Sunday. Now we're playing 3 hours later. Like stuff like that does matter in the course of 162 games. And like, he doesn't get any credit because he's never won a World Series, and every place he goes, they win the year after he leaves type of stuff. But like, he is the foundation of what you're looking for. And I feel like all of these players understand it. Lindor's literally in his ear, whispering back and forth in the dugout, time in and time out. And it's like, they understand and they buy in. All you need is a team that buys into their guy that's leading them. That's all you need at the end of the day. And you got to get hot. That's it.
Yeah, no, and you said it like we we were always wondering, is it just the nerds that are pressing the buttons up in the suite and then telling the manager what to do? And that might have been the case with the managers the Mets would have with the Wilpons, who were managing for the first time as the the skipper, or guys who were on their second or third chance that the Wilpons didn't have to pay what a salary like a Buck Showalter would make. But the guy A, hits all those buttons, and then B, the stuff that does matter, whether it's the way you communicate with the media, the way you communicate with the fans, even the players, you can tell they fucking love him, and like he has a lot of shit he has to navigate now. He has full-time players that are now going to have to become platoon players. And I'm not just talking Vogelback and Ruff. I'm talking about Eduardo Escobar and Canna. Like, that's not an easy thing for most managers to negotiate, but Buck has the pelts on the wall where they're like, all right, this is Buck telling me this. He's going to do the right thing. He's going to, when he sees a moment for them to get a spot to shine against the A's or the Marlins down the road, he'll probably try to do that so they feel good about themselves when the whole goal for everyone is the World Series. And you can't, I'll go Epler mode here. I know we're going to talk, we can always talk about the bullpen and the catching position, and it bothers me too. But based on what I'm heard, we heard Vogelback is an all-time great teammate. On the on the radio today, Howie said that fucking Gabe Kapler cried when Darren Ruff got traded from the Giants.
Yeah.
Like they're getting good players that do good things, but they're getting players that people love being around. And for all the cookie boy nonsense we had to deal with last year and the cookie crew and this and that, and this team loves each other. And then we just find out they kind of hated each other, or there was cliques and that never really got along. That does not seem the way with this team. And you have to give Epler a little bit of credit like that for getting guys like Marte, Escobar, Canna. I mean, Max seems like, when he's not on the mound, he's a pretty lovable guy to be around. It's just he's like the meanest motherfucker when he's on the mound. But, Bassett's the same way, too. That makes a difference with a baseball team. That's all you hear about. That's what they write the books about, is how, the shit in the clubhouse going on. So,
yeah.
I mean,
well,
I would love a lefty arm, but that makes them.
With Vogelbach, there was no, in between, getting acclimated to the team type of situation. They were like, he was in it right from the beginning, and he's in every single pocket of the clubhouse trying to learn who everybody is, what everyone's personality is, how he fits into the scenario. And it's like, if you find all these different role players, that was the biggest thing, where it was like you're getting a guy from the Pirates and the Reds, where they're coming from the bottom of the basement and they're just happy to be out of there. Vogelbach instantly is a fan favorite. Everything he does, from a walk to a home run, we're going to cheer for him. Tyler Naquin, you hit 260? That's a lot more than the last guy that we had. Like, we're going to cheer for you. We're going to understand, the intricacies of the game. And, that's where I feel like that's why Jesse Winker wants to come here, right? Because it's like they understand, I want a fan base that's going to appreciate the little things that you do. And at the end of the day, as long as you're not James McCann, where you're striking out 100 and batting a 180, we're pretty much going to back you and figure out a way to make you a cult classic hero when it comes to the Mets. Until we win a World Series, everybody who we can root for, we're going to root for. And then once we win, it's going to be gravy the rest of the way through. And it's like, well, you're not a Pete Alonso, you're not a Lindor, you're not all these different guys that we can rely upon. There's a reason why Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling are fan favorites.
Yep.
They sit in the booth, they've won the last World Series, and there's a reason why everybody loves them unconditionally. And that's what everyone's searching for, fan base and players alike. And I really do feel like we have all the pieces we need. It's just they have to hit the stride at the right time. They have to continue on through. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that I hope, if it happens, God willing, that's the thing and they didn't have a ton of time here, but the McNeils, the Alonsos, the guy who kind of saw the other side of this franchise, even Diaz, right, in 2019, where it's like, it sucks when things are bad here. But those guys, all those guys from the 86 team, they'll tell you how great it is. You basically have it made for life. You see it with the Giants, too. It's like every fucking guy that won a Super Bowl here, either of those Super Bowls, they just say, it's the fucking best place to win. And, I mean, shit, at this point, I mean, what are we, 30 games above 500 now? Is that what it is?
Yep.
30 games above 500, and there's still people who are freaking out over the littlest shit. It's the best, it's the best team. It's better than the 2006 team. I think we just, I remember that 2006 team. I'm in Astoria right now, and some fucking random in front of some person's house. I was in Astoria for 06. I went to probably 15 games in 2006. This team is better than the 2016. The 2016, it was cake. It was a sick offense, but the pitching does not touch this pitching. Does not touch it. We had Billy Wagner, good closer. In a game like today, Wagner would have blown a save. And let's talk about the guy who came in today. Edwin Diaz comes in. Kyle wrote, "I am livid right now." I could only see fucking Goose Gelling just screaming, "Get them fucking guys out, Yon Lopez!" And he comes in, and I don't know if you heard this, Kyle. Buck said he would potentially use Diaz for both games of the doubleheader if it broke that way. And then with 7 pitches, I thought there was a chance if the game stayed 4-1 or stayed close. I'm happy we didn't have to worry about that. But I mean, even the guy people make contact off of him, and people are like, "Oh," like it's like DeGrom, but the guy he just put the ball in play, not even a hit, and the crowd just sighs. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yep, it was very convenient because tomorrow we know they're not going to score runs because DeGrom's throwing. If they score more than 5, I would be very surprised. So we're going to need a closer. We're going to need him to throw 6 innings, which is like his max. We've already established it's 6 innings, 75 pitches, whatever it's going to be. I have no doubts that he's just going to mow until that point. I mean, when you see a pitcher that can strike batters out at the clip that him and Scherzer can do it, how do you not have this grand idea for the playoffs? When you're facing any team that can, even the Padres just got Juan Soto and Josh Bell. It doesn't matter when you have 2 guys that come in and every single batter from top to bottom, doesn't matter where you fall in the MLB ranking, are scared to face these dudes. We automatically have the advantage. It's just a matter of, can we bridge it to Diaz? That's all I'm questioning at this point. And once we get to the playoffs, we can move our starters into these relief roles type of deal. Like, people forget that Bartolo had a gigantic role getting us to the World Series because he would just come out and just casually throw 1 or 2 innings where he's just dotting up balls. And next thing you know, we're in the World Series. We just need 1 or 2 people that are going to step up that we're not targeting at the moment, but will come through when we need them to come through. And that's all we have to ask them to do.
Yeah, and again, I said I was happy May gave up that home run. It's because he was fired up, but it's hey man, you're not back yet. You got fucking taken deep, and I thought he got taken deep twice. I thought the last out was he might have gotten they got to him too. And then whether it's Givens, I mean Givens is gonna have to give us some clean sheets here, just so I had again Frank going crazy in my mention saying that trade I'd rather have no trade than that trade. We have to be we need him to kind of settle some people down. Lugo looked pretty good. I mean, he lost it at the end there when he hit. I don't think he even ended up hitting Riley in the helmet. I think they said kind of hit his shoulder. But nonetheless, that got away from him. We pitched 30 pitches, though, so he was cooked by the end of it.
I was angry tweeting at that point. I was going off, and then Nate called me out. They were like, I would have thought this game was 7-1 Braves. And I'm like, no, you don't understand, the intricacies of playing 2 games, and we just burned our closer for no reason whatsoever, and we're up by 5.
Oh yeah, no. You cannot be happy you use your closer in a doubleheader against your rival, thinking that hey, the rival is actually going to show up for game 2. Again, egg on our face for being excited about beating the Braves. Apparently, that's just business as usual this season. So again, that one's on us Mets fans here for not wanting to burn our closer. It didn't fucking matter. We didn't need the closer at night anyway.
I had Yankee fans. I'm down on the first level trying to get some food. I got 2 Yankee fans screaming to every Met fan, we're the best team in baseball. We've got the best record. I turned around instantly and I go, you don't even have the best record in your own league. The Astros are breathing down your neck, let alone the Dodgers are 3 games ahead of you. You don't even follow baseball if you think the Yankees are still the best team in baseball. And I'm talking to Yankee fans that are at the game tonight, and they're like, yeah, we had a great first half, but everybody was overperforming. Everybody performed to the absolute top of their level, and now they're coming back to reality, and now they're struggling, and there's glaring holes that weren't filled. So you want to complain about the Mets didn't get the left-handed reliever, they didn't get a catcher. Stanton's not back for the Yankees, and your catcher was a backup catcher who all of a sudden is an all-star catcher. You're lucky he's still performing. It's all these roles are playing out in 162 games makes a huge difference.
Yeah, huge. And if you're going to a Mets game talking about the Yankees, or vice versa, if you're a Mets fan talking shit at Yankee Stadium when the going's good, You're just kind of a dick. Like you're a hardo. If that's your thing, that's your thing. I saw a guy, a Yankees fan. He had a hat at the back said World Championships, and it had every year. I'm like, oh, the Yankees won 27 rings. I've never heard that before. But again, it's just like those people are the absolute worst. You shouldn't even talk to those people. They're not worth your goddamn time. But again, Braves fans, I've seen the light now. There's no reason to celebrate beating this team. It's like celebrating beating the Phillies. When they play the Nationals, they look like the best team in baseball. They probably have like 3 series lined up with the Nationals after this series. We have the Reds after this. I think it's like the Reds, the Phillies, the Braves, the Phillies, the Yankees. So there's a lot more rivalry games left. But I'm not going to get excited about winning these rivalry games anymore because we haven't lost a series in the next pieces. It's tie or win every single one. And this one's already win. 3 of 4. Jacob deGrom on the mound tomorrow. I don't know how this offense is going to cool off, but it's going to cool off. That's just the one fucking truth of life. I'm going to get another. Do we get 2 McDonald's slushies tomorrow? I think we get 2 McDonald's slushies tomorrow because it's 5 or more. I keep getting the alerts, but we did that twice today. It was funny. I wanted to look at the box score before we went live. And I was like, which game was this? Oh, the 8-5 game or the 6-2 game? I mean, there was games where it was like 6 runs in 3 games felt like a fucking win against the goddamn the Cubs, you know? But now we're just doing this against the big bad Braves. And hey, that's the best thing about a 5-game series. That's a rotation. Your rotation, our rotation. Line them up, stack them up. Let's see how it is. So far, 3 or 4 good guys, and Jacob motherfucking deGrom tomorrow against.
Most about this series, it's been so demoralizing, I would imagine, for Braves fans because we're beating you with bunts, we're beating you with base hits, we're very rarely with the home run, and we've got tons of people where when they're hot they can hit home runs, but time in and time out, you know what we're gonna have? Starting pitching.
Yep, and that's you hear it a million times. That's what fucking wins championships. That's what I mean. Need the health. That's the biggest thing. Tomorrow, Jake goes out. Hopefully he deals. Hopefully he comes back, says he's feeling good. I will never, ever, 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 ever relax after a Jacob deGrom start ever again. I've learned my lesson 2 years in a fucking row. I'm never going to just be like, all right, everything's good. He's looking good. He's smiling in the dugout. After every start, I'm going to hope for the best and just go from there. But like I don't know if it was you, Kyle, or someone else said it. We have Jacob deGrom starting, and then we have Jacob deGrom as our closer too. And it's like we just got to fill that bridge. And unfortunately, if Andrew Miller, like peak Andrew Miller, was out there and he was on the trade block, we would have traded for him, and we'd be like, all right, we're gonna run the Jake fucking Express on you, then the Max Express on you, and it's gonna have Miller and Diaz at the end. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that, but we have just a bunch of guys that I don't even know what to say with my books tweets anymore. It's like they just grinded out wins, you know? If they don't hit bombs, they just grind out wins. Tomorrow's Strider, they kind of like grinded on him last time, and he went a little longer than I thought he would the first time. But I don't know. Like, this team is different. This lineup, it's funny with, like, again, I know people don't like they want the big splash move, the JD Martinez, Trey Mancini, but like, why do that if Vogelback and Ruff can get you basically the same thing? That's what everyone wants to be the Rays, and then when we do stuff the Rays do, no one wants it because it's not what the Yankees do. But like, if this is what it's going to be like, I'm 100% fine with it.
It's actually insane. Every button they've pressed so far, it's like we've maximized it to the absolute degree of like, this is what you can expect with this team, and instantly they've done it. Like, in years past, you need a little like wiggle room of like, oh, like they need to get adjusted, they're new to the team, all this stuff. All of these guys are doing exactly what he thought they were going to do from the jump of like, oh, there's a lefty pitching, okay, now we're going to pitch, and now we're going to hit Ruff. Oh, there's a righty hitting, Vogelback. Oh, Canna, oh, Naquin. Every single time they've done it, it's paid off for us, regardless if we're winning the game or not. Those buttons that they're pressing, that is like advanced analytics to the umpteenth degree. This guy hits 800 OPS when he's facing a lefty or righty. Like, and every single time we put him in, that's exactly what happens. We've got 3 players or 4 players that are not complete players, but together they 2 all-stars. And like, that's all we have to do. And it doesn't matter because we're just going to pinch hit here and there as it goes along. And like, even today, the first game, he pinch hits with Ruff because he knows he's going to get that reliever out of the game. It didn't pay off in the end at the end, but like, he instantly was like, oh, you got a guy who's not warming up in the bullpen. Let me pinch hit for Ruff and like throw him in there, and like maybe he gives us a cookie. And that's exactly what he was looking for. He got that guy in the game. Snitker played exactly into his hand, and like Buck's just a puppet master.
Yeah, everyone thought that Buck got played by, having to have Ruff face a right-hander, and it's like, no, you fool. Snitker had the upper hand. That's just the way it works with the pitching and announcing the batter. But by getting that pitcher to go out and pitch, which again is why we didn't want to use Diaz, you want to save your pitchers in a doubleheader. And again, it's just the word masterclass is overused on the internet these days, but Buck does it every single time. By the way, Buck was right about that fucking challenge. That's going to fucking stick in my craw the rest of the fucking day. He had him gunned out at third. So again, every time I get anything nervous about just a game, I never really get nervous about the team in general, but just a game, I just look at Buck. I'm like, Buck is going to figure out a way. These guys are all professionals. They're going to grind it out. So tomorrow, Jake on the bump. I'm already like resigned to another fucking until they score like more than 2 runs in a Jake start. I'm just going to say that's just the way it's going to be. And if he ever does leave here, it's going to be the money, probably some Wilpon scars that left are on his soul, and the fact that the team just refuses to score for him. I'll live with that. But I mean, again, feel good. Don't celebrate too much. This is just like they should just start playing taking care of business at the end of games, because that's all it is. This is just a business transaction. It's just professionals doing professional things on the fucking diamond and off it. It's fucking beautiful to watch. This is the most fun I think I've ever had in my life watching a baseball team. Because 2006, it was like we were just ahead. We were just chilling. 2015, there was still nerves. I didn't really know if the team was good enough. This team is fucking made to fucking go through the rigors of a pennant race. So if you can't enjoy this now, you guys just can't. And I apologize to anyone in the chat who's been saying anything. I can't see the chat on the phone, so I don't know what's been going on. I don't even know how to add people. I can't add people on the phone. But we just wanted to get something out there. I don't know if we'll do a pregame tomorrow or a postgame tomorrow. Maybe we'll see what the day's like. But just wanted to get something out just because I think Mets fans can start to enjoy it a little bit, Kyle, right? I mean, I know it's not our World Series.
If you're not enjoying this, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, the most at ease you should be as a Mets fan at this point until the playoffs. This is playoff baseball in August, and we're dominating.
Yep. Because
we've already won 3. We're going for 4 out of 1 tomorrow. Like, come on. At what point do you have to see the writing on the wall and say, you know what? This team is built for October. I don't care what the outcome of the regular season is. I do think we're going to win the division, but let's say we don't. You know what? Nobody wants to play us come playoffs because we got 2 horses in the pen. I mean, we got 2 horses in the rotation. We have a lineup that can hit anybody and can knock any starter out of the game within 5 or 6 innings. Like, we are built for October.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, there is enough at stake with the wild or getting the bye and getting the number 1 seed, all that kind of shit, top 2 seed, that there's enough to keep you that make these games matter, and it's going to impact the standings and impact the way October goes. So it's going to be fun. Enjoy it, root for it. But again, at this point, don't be surprised when you just have results like today, because this team, they lost 2 or 3 against the Padres a couple of weeks ago, but it's like I know we could still hang with that team. You throw Jake on the mound, you never know what could happen there. They swept the Yankees in the 2 games. They had a chance in 2 of those Astros games, and those are the best you're going to see. They split with the Dodgers earlier this year. The next Dodgers series is going to be interesting. And by the way, the Dodgers, Kershaw hurt his back's hurt. So it's like they're like everyone else is dealing with shit as well as we have to deal with shit, whenever it comes and goes. And God willing, Jake stays healthy and stuff. But man, just sit back, relax, fucking 4-1, 3-2, whatever. It's still a series win, and gotta believe.
Gotta believe.